Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Today's YouTube video is about what 2 years of high school computer science looks like. I'm going to go over what courses I took as well as the main projects I did within these courses. If you guys do enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, and also follow my Twitch, link in the description. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. Alrighty guys, so my first year of high school I took Computer Science 1. Basically, this course taught Python and entry-level coding. You needed zero prior knowledge before taking this course. We learned about if-else statements, loops, functions, and a bunch of other really basic syntax for entry-level coding. Now, I have two main projects that I did during this school year, which were my midterm and final. These were both week-long projects that we worked on in class and also at home for homework. We also, of course, learned about primitive data types and a bunch of all the other really basic things that you learn when you first start learning a new coding language. Now, I want to go ahead and show you guys the projects that I worked on. Alrighty guys, so my midterm project was a text-based adventure game. Using everything I learned within the first semester, I had to create a text-based adventure game using print statements, loops, functions, and a bunch of other really cool things. I'm going to go ahead and play this really quickly and show you guys basically how the program runs. So basically you put input and you basically choose the way you want to go within this text-based adventure game. Based on your choice, you will also run into either end blocks where you die or you continue on and hopefully get out of the scenario that I presented. Alrighty guys, so that's basically the midterm of my Computer Science 1 course. It basically includes all that I learned during the first semester as well as a few add-ons because I did want to make my project a little bit unique and stand out just a tiny bit. And yes, I did get the A, so I was very glad to see that. Total program lines was 128, so it was a pretty small project, but for a freshman's first ever midterm, this was really good. Alrighty guys, so my final project for Computer Science 1 was Pygame creating a game. So basically I created an aim trainer for my final, and learning Pygame from scratch was no small feat. I'm actually really proud of this program, even though it is kind of short. So using Pygame, I created an aim trainer. I'm going to go ahead and run it for you guys here. So while you click on the circles, it updates your score inside of the console. It's really simple, but managing to make these circles appear randomly everywhere was definitely something really happy for me. So within this project, it's not dying unexpectedly. There is a time of 10 seconds. You can change this time and decide how much time you want. So using daytime, that was the modula apparently for this final project. I don't really remember, but using that modula, I was able to create a scenario to where you have 10 seconds to get as high of a score as you can within this aim trainer, and then the program ends itself. Of course, I could delete this and the program would just go on forever, and you could just keep clicking circles forever, but in order to make it seem a little bit more competitive, there was a time limit. Moving on to my sophomore year, guys, I took two classes that were computer science related. I took Computer Science 2 Honors and Intro to Web Development, aka CIW Internet Business. That class taught HTML and CSS introductory level, and then Computer Science 2 Honors taught C++ at a little bit of a deeper scale. Now, you learned about classes, data types, functions, loops, if else, all the basic things as well, and then we had to create projects based on this. So the projects were a little bit longer and a little bit more rigorous. For example, for my midterm, we had to create Connect 4. Now this program was much longer than my Python midterm. This program was actually 245 lines of code and about 2 weeks figuring out how to make it work. So yeah, multiple functions in here, one to create the board, one to print the board, and then my inputs, and then changing the players based on the count, and then choosing the player piece. So there is a lot going on inside of here, but I'm going to go ahead and run it for you guys so you guys can see exactly how it works. So basically you have to choose the column that you wish to drop your piece in. So player 0 and player 1 is what I chose. So for player 0, I would like to put my X in row 1, and then it goes to player 1 where I can put my O. So I can choose like column 2, column 1 again, column 5, I guess, column 1 again, column 7, column 1, and then once there's 4, player 0 wins. So this program checks vertically, diagonally, and horizontally exactly like a Connect 4 game. I remember having a little bit of trouble figuring out how to check if the pieces were the same diagonally, for 4, but after a little bit of time, I was able to figure it out through these different for loops here. So that was definitely something I was very proud of, considering the fact that this was my midterm as well as a lot of our classes. I'm happy I was able to finish this within 2 weeks this past year. So for my final project, I was assigned to create a game of my choosing as long as it was approved by my teacher. So I chose checkers. Checkers certainly isn't the easiest, but it also isn't the hardest game to code. This was probably my longest code ever, about 364 lines of code, and it took me a solid 1.5 weeks in order to fully figure it out. Most of it was really easy. I was able to do it within an hour, but some things was just a little bit more difficult, like figuring out when to realize when a player wins on the board and all the other pieces are captured and stuff like that. Those took a lot more time, but I was able to complete this project in time for my final, and I got a perfect on it, so I'm really happy for that. So basically, it's a 2-player checkerboard game. You have your black and red pieces. I created the board using asterisks and @ symbols, and of course, the red and black pieces are placed along the ats. So you have to choose the column. It basically presents a first case scenario where in checkers you can only move the first row of each piece. So basically you can only move the first row of the red pieces and the first row of the black pieces, because you can't move anything behind it because it would overlap the original black piece or red piece. So you would choose the column. For example, for player 1, I choose column 2, and then I'd say to the right, and then it would adjust itself on the board, and then the board would be printed out once again using a function. So yeah, basically it goes through all of that. I'm gonna go ahead and play the program a little bit here so you guys can see exactly how I take some pieces. So basically right here we went ahead and took a black piece, and you basically do all that, and eventually once you finished it and all the pieces on the board are either black or red, that's when you know the player has won. So when there's no more red pieces on the board, that means black has won, and when there's no more black pieces, that means red has won. So yeah, it's a pretty simple checkers game. I didn't really go in depth about making the pieces go backwards, etc., once you have made them king. It was just a basic prototype of checkers. And then I forgot to mention this, but C++ was of course object-oriented programming within this year of computer science 2 honors. So now lastly, I want to talk about what I did during web development. So I told you guys I learned HTML and CSS. Unfortunately, I'm not able to access my student drive to show you guys the exact programs that I did, showcasing my HTML and CSS skills, because those are on my student drive and I cannot access them during summer break. However, it was like my portfolio basically. I did multiple projects about myself. I designed like prototype websites that were basically from a book. So basically the book told you what they wanted you to do to a website. So they gave you like a website and you had to add CSS to it. You had to like change the website to where it looked more flashy with colors, font lines, etc. So yeah, it was a pretty cool class. I'm really sorry that I don't have any projects to show you guys, but hopefully I might be doing web 2 and continuing my web journey development in order to learn also JavaScript. But I don't know if I'm doing this junior year or senior year. I'll have to see and I'll let you guys know. But for junior year, which is this upcoming year, I'm taking AP Computer Science A, and I'm also doing robotics this year because robotics does include C, so I wanted to learn a little bit of C, as I've already learned C++, so I don't think it's that much more difficult. A lot of people say C could perhaps in fact be easier, so I'll have to see. So I think that'll be a good bit of fun, as well as competing within robotics. And then of course AP Computer Science A is Java. And I do have to take the AP test for that, which is going to be quite exciting. Hopefully we'll get a 5 on that. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video about 2 years of computer science. Once again, consider dropping a like and subscribing. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any more video ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments. I would love to keep creating videos on this channel. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.